Breaking news now at 6:30. Multiple people shot inside a home in northwest Harris County. We're taking you to the scene with what we've learned overnight.
And we're starting off chilly, but rain chances on the way for next week. That's going to give us a flooding threat across the Houston area.
Plus, the future is bright for professional sports in Houston. We've got the highlights from the Astros and the Texans, who dominated headlines this weekend. KHOU 11 Morning News starts now. And starting off with a live look over downtown Houston on this Sunday, January 21st. Sunrise is just 45 minutes away. Thanks for being up with us. I'm Katiera Winfrey.
And I'm Chris Ramirez.
Well, Chris, people need to bundle up if they're heading out this morning. Break down the forecast for us.
Yes, we are expecting very chilly conditions.
Well, now to breaking news still unfolding in northwest Harris County. The sheriff's office says at least 3 people are dead and others injured after a shooting inside of a home. The shooting happened early this morning in what the sheriff says appears to be a short-term rental on Russet Leaf Trace. Here's a live look at the scene. According to the sheriff, 2 people died at the home, a male and a female, and a 3rd person died at the hospital. The sheriff's office believes there were over a dozen people inside the home that was being rented out. At some point, someone started firing. The sheriff says it's not clear if the shooter or shooters crashed the small gathering or if that person was an invited guest. We're told they did find evidence from firearms outside the home, which leads them to believe at least one person was firing from outside the house.
Besides the one person that's deceased at the hospital, there may be 2 others receiving treatment. We don't know the extent of their injuries, and there may be others that drove off and are now showing up at clinics. So if anybody shows up at an area clinic or hospital, we'd like to know about it so that we could again try to piece all this together and hopefully get some more answers.
And our crew is going to remain at the scene, and we'll keep you updated as we learn more throughout the morning. And now to an update on traffic alert developing overnight on the Southwest Freeway. Just moments ago, Houston police cleared the scene and reopened the main lanes going southbound at Bel Air Boulevard. Now here's a closer look at what the scene looked like just a few hours ago. As you can see here, at least 2 cars were involved with extensive damage to both cars. The crash happened just after 2 this morning, closing down the main lanes for hours as crews cleared the debris from the southbound lanes. Again, those lanes have reopened. Now remember, you can stay up to date on crime happening in your communities. Download the KHOU 11 mobile app and get breaking news alerts sent right to your phone. Today, bats stunned by the freezing cold are set to be released back into the wild. The Houston Humane Society found more than 200 bats beneath the Wall Street Bridge after putting them in incubators to warm them up and giving them fluids. The bats will be released at the Wall Street Bridge at 5:45 p.m. Well, the Texans' playoff run is over. Early this morning, the team returned home to H-Town, and some loyal fans were at NRG Stadium to welcome them back. Now this weekend, they ended their season after making history on many levels. Still, the Ravens are on a different level, and right here proves it. The 27-yard line was the closest that the Houston offense came to the end zone in this one. All the penalties by the Texans didn't help either. 34-10 is the final, and Lamar Jackson putting on a show in the second half, running for 2 scores and 100 yards and throwing for 2 more touchdowns. And seeing it all in person is Zach Toatari with our continuing coverage.
The clock strikes midnight on the Texans' Cinderella.
Well, thank you, Matt. The time is now 6:37. Still ahead, trouble for Sports Illustrated. Why the magazine went from bylines to the headlines this weekend. Plus, be faster when disaster strikes. How FEMA plans to get money to those in the path of the next storm. Welcome back to KHOU 11 Morning News. The time is now 6:40. Here's a live look over Moody Gardens. We're going to check back with Chris Ramirez in just a few minutes. Now to your morning headlines, starting with financial help following natural disasters. FEMA is now trying a different approach. Some new measures include wide access to money for people impacted that can help with food, shelter, and evacuations. FEMA will also establish a new fund for where they stay, including friends and relatives' homes. Officials say the goal is to cut the red tape and help people faster. The new rules will take effect March 22nd. Next, fans of Sports Illustrated fear it could be the end of an era. According to the magazine's union on Friday, there were mass layoffs. We're told this comes after the Authentic Brands Group, or ABG, revoked its publishing rights because of missed payments. That's what Arena Group, the owner of Sports Illustrated, said in a memo to staff. In a statement, ABG says Sports Illustrated will continue, but didn't give details. And finally, Samsung unveiled a series of smartphones with enhanced artificial intelligence. The AI allows users to circle an image and search for it. You can also move objects or people within a photo. And a conversation in 2 languages can be translated live. The new smartphones range in price from $800 to $1,300 and will be available in stores January 31st. Chris, if I have to pay that much for a phone, I think I'll just stick with the phone that I have. I mean, it sounds cool, but I don't think I'm ready to shell out that cash.
Right, that is true. And I feel like the AI part of it is getting a little bit too scary for me. People are going to come up with their own, scenarios and stuff.
Yeah, it seems a little bit scary. So I don't know about that 800 ticket price mark, but hey, it is what it is. You got to move forward with progress, right?
Right, that's true. And sometimes those weather apps are not that accurate. So that's why you have to rely on your local meteorologist's latest weather happenings here across the Houston area, as we could see that flooding threat increase for Monday.
Well, that ever-changing weather, good old Texas.
Yes.
Thanks, Chris. Well, the time now is 6:46. Gamers beware. In less than 3 minutes, we explain why leveling up could come with some health risks. Well, the time is 6:49. Welcome back. Video games are a popular hobby, but every time you put on those headphones, you could be putting your hearing at risk. Ron Trevino explains why. Well, the time now is 6:40, still 6:50, still ahead. Sometimes flashing lights come in handy. With the clock ticking, it took a chain of people working together to get an organ donation delivered to a hospital. Plus, don't be salty. After a week of dipping below freezing, it may be time to give your car a rinse. We'll explain why ahead this morning. The time now is 6:53. Welcome back. We're checking in on the highways around town this morning with a live look from our TransStar cameras. Right now, we're seeing a major backup on the Southwest Freeway going southbound at Gessner Road. All main lanes are closed. We're working to get more information now. Most of the time on a Sunday morning, highways around town are bound to be clear. But come rush hour tomorrow morning, it's going to be a much different story, especially if you're navigating around road work. It's stressful enough trying to get to work on time, but could you imagine if an organ donation got stuck in a backup? Here's Boyd Hubbard with the must-see story. Such a heartwarming story. Well, the time is now 6:57. Still ahead, how much would it cost for you to lock away your phone? One company is serving up an offer. Plus, the hard freeze may be over, but scammers are now taking advantage of homeowners who are looking to make repairs. We'll break down the red flags.
KHOU 11 Morning News starts now.
Starting off with a live look over Galveston, courtesy of our partners at Saltwater Recon. Sunrise is less than 15 minutes away. I'm Katiera Winfrey here with Chris Ramirez. Chris, break down the forecast for us.
Yes, we are expecting rainfall.
Chris, now all of Houston's bayous are showing green according to the Harris County flood warning system. That means right now there isn't any flooding. Air 11 flew over some of the bayous on Friday to give us an idea of what they look like. We'll continue to monitor where any flooding might happen next week. Now, Houston Public Works says it's going to start lowering the water in Lake Houston today by an entire foot. Property owners are being asked to make sure their things are secured along the shoreline. Now remember, when strong storms and rain push through the region, you can get the latest on the weather conditions in your area on our KHOU 11 mobile app. Be sure to turn on push notifications so you can get updates sent right to your phone. Texas Congressman Michael McCall led a bipartisan congressional delegation on a tour of the border this weekend. The lawmaker spoke with community leaders and Border Patrol officials. The DPS also took them on a boat tour across a wide section of the Rio Grande that overlooks Reynosa, Mexico. The tour comes as lawmakers in Washington continue to negotiate the details of a new border security reform plan.
We're going to work very hard in the next month to get as strong border security measures as we can on the emergency supplemental that will be tied to Ukraine and Israel funding.
The lawmakers head to Mexico tomorrow to meet with that country's president and the two leading candidates vying to replace him. The nation's first primary of 2024 presidential election is just 2 days away. Both the frontrunner, former President Donald Trump, and Nikki Haley were in an attack mode while campaigning in New Hampshire. CBS News correspondent Wendy Gillette reports on the latest developments.
And I know your state, Katiera, is watching it closely too.
Well, absolutely. Margaret Brennan live in D.C. Thank you so much. Now remember to stick around. All that and more on Face the Nation on Sunday mornings right here on KHOU 11 at 9:30. Astros fans are getting ready for what they expect will be another winning season. This weekend, I got a chance to attend the annual Fan Fest where hundreds of fans gathered at Minute Maid Park.
This is a field of dreams. A lot of good can happen here. The Astros have proved it again and again.
We just want to support them and make sure they have a good 24 year.
Justin Fresina is an old school fan watching the Astros from the very beginning, and his love for the team hasn't wavered. If anything, it's grown stronger.
Tell these Astros, let's get it, 24 is our year.
There's a certain spirit of an Astros fan with longtime fans, of course, hoping for a winning season, but also welcoming bandwagon fans to continue to pray that we swing for the stars and hit it out of the park.
Siblings River and Ethan Neve are just a few of the many visiting Minute Maid Park for the annual Fan Fest to check out the players on the roster.
Yeah, we saw Kyle Tucker a while ago downstairs when we first got here.
Their $1 entry fee will be tallied up and go towards the Astros Foundation, a team-led nonprofit aimed at supporting youth sports, education, raising domestic violence awareness, and so much more through programs like the MLB Youth Academy and reviving baseball in inner cities.
Just play your hardest, and if we fail, we fail, but I believe my Astros. Go Astros.
For those not lucky enough to meet the team, they hit the field, taking advantage of the opportunity with a few photos and tossing around the ball. Perhaps joining the Astro roster one day.
We're Houston proud, so we're going to make sure we support our team.
Absolutely, we're going to support them. The time is now 7:09, still ahead. If you're sick of overdraft fees, you're not alone. A new rule for banks that's up for consideration now. Plus, here's the scoop. A yogurt company is challenging you to stay off your phone for an entire month. How much they're willing to pay. Now to breaking news still unfolding in Northwest Harris County. The sheriff's office says at least 3 people are dead and others hurt after a shooting inside of a home. The shooting happened early this morning in what the sheriff says appears to be a short-term rental on Russet Leaf Trace. This is a live look from the scene. According to the sheriff, 2 people died at the home, a male and a female, and a third person died at the hospital. The sheriff's office believes there were over a dozen people inside the home that was being rented out. At some point, someone started firing. We're going to stay on top of this story and we'll bring you the latest again at 7:30. And now to your morning headlines, starting with the post-holiday virus surge. According to the CDC, respiratory virus levels are going down right now. While that's good news, it doesn't mean we're in the clear. The CDC did note that virus levels are still elevated and the highest activity is in the South right now. Health officials are also worried about a possible upswing that frequently follows the winter holidays. Since early December, flu has been causing more emergency room visits than COVID-19, but visits for both have been going down for the past 2 weeks. Bank overdraft fees could drop to as low as $3 under a new Biden administration proposal. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is looking to dramatically cut the fees that can now top $30. Under the proposed rule, banks would only be able to charge customers the actual cost to cover an overdrawn account. And finally, how much money would be worth putting your phone under lock and key? One company is willing to pay $10,000 to do their digital detox. It's almost unthinkable in 2024. Now the challenge means no phone at all for an entire month. Siggy's Dairy, which makes Icelandic-style yogurt, says it's nice to live a simpler life with less distractions. You can find the information for the challenge on the company's website. Now, Chris, as a 90s kid, I think I could do it. I think I could pull off not using my phone for a month if that means 10,000.
I think so too. I feel like, we could just resort to landline and, just send mail with snail mail, the regular.
Just don't take away my streaming apps on TV, and then I think I'll be good.
Right. If it wasn't for the apps on the iPad, because they didn't say iPad, and they didn't say TV.
Yeah, and then you can use that app to check the weather.
Yeah, and probably message your friends. Who knows? Another weather system. Katiera?
Definitely be aware of that rain, but we can be grateful it's warming up.
Yes.
All right, well, the time now is 7:18. Still ahead, despite the forecast, it's not a wash. Why you may want to pay a little extra to let the pros clean up your car. Plus, armed with shovels, the Bills plan to defeat the Chiefs one snow pile at a time. The call out to fans that may make you smile later this morning. The time is now 7:21. Welcome back. You're taking a live look from Maine, courtesy of our partners at EarthCam on this wintry January morning. And you want to see this beautiful shot taken when snow covered parts of Maine this week. The person who captured this moment described the flurries as a snow globe effect. Much of the nation is still dealing with the impacts of the Arctic blast. Now here in Texas, we've got rain in the forecast, but you may want to run your car through the wash anyway. Rekha Mudaraj explains why. And still ahead, the key to inspiring Texas students could start with a little TLC, and in this case, it all began with a forgotten piano. A forgotten treasure is helping Texas elementary school students start every day on the right note. Nicole Nielsen has the inspiring story from Grapevine. Such a cute story. Well, the time now 7:27. Still ahead, the mail misery continues. A small business in Houston is worried about their customers after product seems to be getting stuck in delivery. Plus, repairs begin from the freeze. How to avoid getting bundled up in a scam.
KHOU 11 Morning News starts now.
We don't know if there was one or two shooters. There's evidence inside the house, and then there's also evidence along the street.
Breaking now at 7:30, a massive investigation happening right now after 3 people were killed and at least 2 others hurt in a shooting overnight. Home repair. Starting off with a live look over downtown Houston on this Sunday, a cloudy start, and it's not looking to clear up anytime soon. I'm Katiera Winfrey here with Chris Ramirez. Chris, break down the forecast for us.
Yes, well, we are starting off mostly chilly.
Well, now to breaking news still unfolding in Northwest Harris County. The sheriff's office says at least 3 people are dead and others hurt after a shooting inside of a home. The shooting happened early this morning in what the sheriff says appears to be a short-term rental on Russet Leaf Terrace. Here's a live look at the scene. According to the sheriff, 2 people died at the home, a male and female, and a 3rd person died at the hospital. The sheriff's office believes there were over a dozen people inside the home that was being rented out. At some point, someone started firing. The sheriff says it's not clear if the shooter or shooters crashed the small gathering or if that person was an invited guest. We're told they did find evidence from firearms outside the home, which leads them to believe at least one person was firing from outside the house.
Now just everybody has a camera these days, so they could review footage right after the 2 a.m. hour to about 2:20 is when everything, the key times, and then obviously before or after if they saw any vehicles fleeing. And it does appear that shots were fired outside the location as well. along the street as maybe people were fleeing. So very chaotic and dangerous situation where others could have been injured as a result of just the random gunfire that was occurring outside as well.
And we're working to get more details now as the investigation continues this morning. And remember, you can stay up to date on crime happening in your communities. Download the KHOU 11 mobile app and get breaking news alerts sent right to your phone. This seemed to get stuck. One viewer called it a male black hole. The congressman also wants a tour of the facility. USPS wrote back to schedule that tour for the upcoming week. And this morning, we're sharing another one of your stories, this one from a small business owner who is not only concerned about the money they spent on shipping, but their reputation. Here's Troy Kless. And you can find all of our stories on this mail issue on KHOU.com right now. Now, as you get ready to start making repairs to your home after the hard freeze, you need to watch out for scammers. Our Grace White walks us through some of the ways you can protect yourself. And remember, you can reach out for help by sending an email to gracecanhelp@khou.com or give her a call at 713-521-HELP. The time is now 7:38. Still ahead, there's a blank space on the stadium's menu, and the Bills are using it to tease Travis Kelce. We'll explain. Welcome back to KHOU 11 Morning News. The time is now 7:41. Here's a live look over downtown Houston. We're going to check back in with Chris Ramirez in just a few minutes. The Houston Texans are back home this morning after an incredible run that ended in Baltimore last night. They fell to the Ravens 34-10. Early this morning, fans greeted the team outside NRG Stadium to celebrate a hard-fought season. Meanwhile, the NFL playoffs continue today. First, the Buccaneers take on the Lions at 2 p.m. and then the Chiefs face the Bills at 5:30. You can watch that game right here on KHOU 11. And it's sure to be an interesting matchup. The Bills fans have a loyal and dedicated fan base. When snow covered Buffalo over the past several weeks, they showed up in droves to help shovel out the stadium. And we're talking about piles and piles of snow. The Bills put out a call to the community telling fans that they would get $20 an hour, but they would have to bring their own shovel. And the antics didn't end there. The team is now catering to Swifties, possibly in the hopes of getting them to jump ship from supporting Travis Kelce and the Chiefs. New specialty items for the divisional matchup today include Taylor-inspired dishes. Fans at the stadium will be able to order the Bad Blood waffle fries or maybe the Karma quesadilla. Regardless, each team hopes to taste victory. Again, you can watch the game right here on KHOU 11. I really love that. I've seen headlines that says things like Taylor Swift's boyfriend is doing this, that, and the third, or Taylor Swift's boyfriend's brother. So, you know, I get a kick out of it.
Right. You know, I feel like the NFL is some people think it's showing her too much. I think she feels like why there's sometimes they kind of pan to her. She's like, why are they showing me?
But it's fun. It's all fun. Now this weather, maybe not so much fun.
Right. At least we're not shoveling snow like they're doing out there in Buffalo for the next 7 days.
Well, we definitely need to be weather aware. Thank you so much, Chris. Now here's a live look over Galveston as we go to break. The top 3 things you need to know on this Sunday when we come back. Now to the top 3 stories we're tracking, starting with number 3 out of Northwest Harris County. At least 3 people are dead and others hurt after a shooting inside of a home. This is a live look from the scene on Russet Leaf Trace. Go to KHOU.com for our full coverage. And number 2, a traffic alert on the Southwest Freeway. Right now, the southbound main lanes are closed near Hillcroft. It's causing a major backup in the area. You'll want to find a different route. And number 1, today, 200 bats who were stunned by the freeze will be released back into the wild. This is happening near the Wall Street Bridge at 5:45 tonight.
And going from freeze to a wet weather pattern through the next few days, significant rain chances starting as soon as tonight, lasting through Wednesday. And we could see some minor flooding in some locations, at least through the rest of our work week.
And remember, you can track radar in real time by downloading the KHOU 11 mobile app. Be sure to turn on push notifications so you get updates sent right to your phone. Thanks for being up with us. I'm Katiera Winfrey.
And I'm Chris Ramirez. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy this moment of Zen.